There's a massive difference between a jacket that keeps you dry and a jacket that doesn't get wet itself. And if you ride in the UK, that difference matters more than most people realise. Today, we're doing a proper deep dive into what I'd call the best laminated motorcycle jackets under £400. This isn't a quick top 5 and done video, it's a long version. Chapters will be in the description if you want to jump around, but if you actually want to understand what you're buying, then stick with me. Quick intro, I'm Jamie from Moto Central. We've got a physical shop, we sell and fit this kit every day, and we deal with real world stuff. Returns, sizing issues, long-term wear, and customer feedback. One thing I want to be really clear about before we go any further, there are loads of laminated jackets on the market. We're not saying that these are the only options. What we've done here is narrow it down to what we genuinely believe are 5 of the strongest laminate jackets under £400 that are widely available and worth considering. So even the worst jacket in this video is still in our top 5 for this category. We're comparing good jackets against very good jackets, not good versus junk. So before we touch any of the jackets, let's clear something up properly. Most people think waterproof is waterproof. It isn't. With traditional textile drop liner jackets, rain soaks into the outer shell. You might stay dry inside, but the jacket becomes heavy, cold and miserable. It takes ages to dry, and when you put it back on the next morning, it still feels damp. With laminated jackets, the waterproof membrane is bonded directly to the outer shell, so the jacket itself doesn't absorb water, the rain beads off, the jacket stays lighter, dries faster and feels warmer in bad weather. That's why once riders go laminate, they rarely go back. Now a quick but important layer of knowledge. 2-layer versus 3-layer laminate. Most jackets at this price point use 2-layer laminate. That's the outer fabric bonded directly to the waterproof membrane. It works well and it keeps cost sensible. 3-layer laminate adds a protective backing layer behind the membrane. The extra layer protects it from wear, sweat and friction. It improves durability and usually feels more premium inside. Under £400, most brands stick with 2-layer laminate, and that's normal. But some jackets here start doing clever things with panel construction and reinforcements. Now let's talk about price. £300 to £400, that might sound expensive for textile, but for laminate, this is actually entry-level territory. Once you move into full Gore-Tex adventure shells, you're easily into £600, £800, even £1,000 plus. So these jackets sit in the sweet spot. Real laminate performance without refinancing your bike. The jackets we're comparing today are the Oxford Mondial 2, which is £300, the Merlin Akashi Pro, which is £400, the held Lonborg, which is £390, the Richa Infinity 3 Pro at £380, and finally the RST Vulcan at £300. And a quick note, yes, this is a jacket video, but people rarely buy a jacket in isolation. A lot of you are looking for a full suit. So I'll mention trousers where it matters. And also things like leg lengths, because some ranges do short and regular options, which is a massive deal if you're trying to get the fit right. We're going to work from what we feel is the weakest up to the strongest. The Vulcan isn't unsafe, it isn't badly made, and it absolutely does the job. It's just when you put it side by side with the others here, you start to see where it falls behind. On paper, the Vulcan actually looks decent. It's AA rated as a garment, it comes with level 2 armour in the shoulders and the elbows and the back as standard, and it uses laminated LX3 fabric with built-in stretch. You've also got removable full-length thermal liner and plenty of pockets. 4 front pockets, a rear mat pocket and multiple internals. It's clearly aimed at long days in the saddle. But in real world use, the first thing you notice is armour comfort. Compared to the D3O setups in the other jackets here, the Vulcan's armour feels noticeably harder and more intrusive, especially around the elbows and the arms. You feel it more while riding, and that affects long distance comfort. Ventilation is another weak point. It leans heavily on the chest intake vents and a rear exhaust. That can work well on a naked bike, but once you've got a big touring screen in the mix, chest vents can become less effective because airflow gets pushed up and over your torso. And crucially, it doesn't give you that proper forearm venting advantage the best jackets have. It does feel durable, there's ballistic material in the outer, but the overall design just doesn't feel as well thought out as the stronger jackets here. Nothing disastrous, just not as refined and not as exciting, especially when you compare it directly to the Oxford jacket at the same price. Now let's talk about the Oxford Mondial 2.0. This is easily the value champion in this group. At $299.99, you're getting a proper laminated shell, level 2 armour in the shoulders and elbows, a removable thermal liner, and a jacket that's light and easy to live with day to day. In store, most Mondial buyers are commuters and everyday riders. It's not overly complicated, it's not bulky, it's easy to throw on and get on with your day. And yes, the price absolutely helps. Now here's where it gets interesting. The Mondial name has a reputation because the original suit earned it the hard way. There's a long-term riding story behind the Mondial range, where the previous version was used through a seriously wet UK winter, doing big day mileage, and it stayed waterproof throughout. That's why the Mondial became a people talk about it laminated suit. It punched above its price point in a way that was impossible to ignore. With the 2.0, the theme continues. Good comfort, good pocketing, and very strong value for a laminated setup. On the practicality side, it has big usable pockets, including a waterproof internal Napoleon pocket and a rear mat pocket. Venting works, but it's the sort of venting that's better if you set up before you ride. If you're the type who wants to adjust vents on the fly, some of it can be a bit fiddly compared to really well designed vent systems. Fit wise, it's definitely more road touring and adventure. It doesn't have the bulk of a proper winter focused adventure jacket, but nothing a heated jacket or a matching Oxford Atmos base layer couldn't solve. Another big advantage with the Mondial range is that it's the only one here that properly offers matching men's and ladies versions in the same design, which is a bigger deal than people think if you want your partner in matching kit or you're buying together. Next up is the held Lonborg. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a massive advocate for held, and that's because they generally make really well built kit. Before I go any further with this one, I definitely recommend watching our full in-depth video on the Lonborg, and that's because there are a few features on this jacket that are much easier to appreciate when you see them up close. The Lonborg feels pretty solid. It uses a 3-layer tactile laminate outer, and that's worth explaining because it's a big part of why it feels so nice compared to a lot of the stiffer laminated textiles. With a 3-layer laminate, you've essentially got the outer fabric, the waterproof membrane, and then the backing layer that supports and protects that membrane. That backing layer helps with long-term durability and also gives the jacket a more premium, structured feel inside. The tactile itself has a softer, more pliable hand feel than a lot of standard polyester shells, so straight away it feels comfortable and broken in rather than stiff. Honestly, it reminds me a bit of the Merlin Akashi in the sense that it's got more premium flexible feel. It also offers a really nice mesh back panel which helps with comfort and airflow, especially on longer rides where you're sat in one position and you just want the jacket to feel breathable rather than clingy. Now, one point our shop guys made that's genuinely a good perspective: the Lonborg doesn't rely on waterproof zips everywhere, but it does use storm flaps that are designed to catch and channel water away. In some ways, that can actually be more reliable of a long-term approach because a storm flap doesn't wear out in the same way that coated waterproof zips can. Zip coatings can degrade over time. A flap is just a flap. It keeps doing its job. That said, I do think it's still fair to mention that at this price point, some riders expect more obvious waterproof zip choices on exposed areas because it gives you that immediate confidence when you look at it. So fit-wise, the main quirk we've noticed is that it can feel oddly tight in the forearms compared to the rest of the jacket. It's comfortable overall, but one of those try-on moments where some people go, why is it snug here but roomy everywhere else? So overall, it's a good jacket, strong build, comfortable, feels premium in the materials. It just sits in the middle of that particular comparison because it doesn't fully commit to being either premium touring or full adventure. And it has a couple of quirks that stop it climbing higher against the very best in this group. Now we move into the top two. The Richa Infinity 3 Pro is the best pure road touring option in the lineup, especially if your riding includes a lot of cold, wet motorway miles. This jacket feels premium the moment you pick it up. The materials, the stitching and the finish feel a step above. Richa have a long reputation in the waterproof world, including Gore-Tex license kit in their wider range, and you can feel that they know what they're doing in how they put this together. Technically, it's interesting too because it mixes 2-layer and 3-layer laminate panels. So a quick translation of that, 2-layer is the outer plus the membrane, and 3-layer adds a bonded scrim backing that helps protect the membrane from wear. It's not the same as having a loose mesh liner, it's about durability and longevity. Waterproofing is seriously strong on paper and in practice, and there's a long mile testing feedback out there showing it's staying fully dry through long motorway rides and proper heavy rain and spray. Protection wise, it's AA rated, and it uses level 1 D3O throughout, and it includes a back protector. Some riders will wish that it came with level 2 for the money, but level 1 D3O is partly why it stays lighter and more flexible, and you can upgrade armour later if you want. Practicality is great. Big waterproof outer pockets, a Neapolitan pocket that you can access without undoing the main zip, internal storage, and a rear pocket for the usual mat pocket stuff. The thermal liner is also really good, and it's one of the few where you might actually wear it on its own off the bike. One clever detail Richa do that I respect. Their Fidlock magnetic system include pacemaker warnings clearly on the garment. Other jackets use magnets, but don't always spell it out. Now venting. It's good, but it's not the best in this group. There's a lot of clever designs here, but in really warm weather, it can still run hot. And how effective the vents feel depends heavily on what sort of bike you're on. On a naked bike, you'll feel more. On a big touring bike with a screen and fairing, you'll feel less. That's a theme that we'll come back to in a second. If you're a serious year-round commuter or road tourer, and you want warm, waterproof, comfortable kit and that you can live in, this jacket is a brilliant option. Now, the final jacket. The Merlin Akashi Pro. This is the one that impressed us the most, and it's not just our opinion. This jacket has been properly long-term tested over thousands of miles across multiple seasons, and that real-world testing backs up exactly what we see in store. The first thing you'll notice is how premium it feels. It's flexible, it moves with you, it feels technical, and it doesn't have that stiff, crinkly laminate feel that some jackets get. From a shell perspective, you're getting 2-layer Aquaseal Pro laminate with 15,000mm waterproofing and 12,000 breathability. In real riding terms, that means proper rain performance without the jacket soaking up water and turning heavy and miserable. No soggy textile feeling, no cold fabric clinging to you. Ride in the rain, hang it up, and it actually dries. Protection has not been skimmed on either. It's AA rated as a garment, and you get D3O armour in the shoulders, elbows, and a back protector is fitted as standard. You've also got super fabric reinforcements in impact zones, plus a chest protector pocket if you want to upgrade in the front protection too. Now, ventilation is where the Akashi really pulls away. The jacket isn't just vented, it's intelligently vented. You've got huge roll down chest vents, proper rear exhaust venting, and crucially, vents on the biceps and forearms. This matters more than most people realise. If you're riding a big touring bike with a big screen, chest vents often become less effective because airflow gets pushed over your torso. Forearm vents still catch airflow regardless of screen height, so even on touring bikes with big screens, you still get meaningful cooling. A lot of other jackets here either only have bicep vents or none of the arms at all. And the ones that rely mainly on chest vents can be brilliant on some bikes and noticeably less effective on others. The Akashi is the most consistent in actually moving air. And another thing, exhaust venting. On most of these jackets, the exhaust vents are fine, but fairly average. The Akashi is one of the few where the whole intake and exhaust system feels properly balanced. Fit is also spot on. True to size, good arm length, proper jacket length, and with bicep and forearm adjusters plus waist adjustment, you can really lock the jacket down so the armour stays planted and the fit feels reassuring. Now, the details that make it feel properly thought through. You've got a wrist pocket that's perfect for bike keys, toll cards, license cards. You've got a Neapolitan pocket you can access without undoing the main zip, which sounds small, but it's really useful day to day. There's a massive rear mat pocket, and there's a hydration bladder pocket built in too. Then there's the removable storm collar. When it's in place, it's held by a magnet, which sounds like a gimmick until you see it and realise it makes sense. And when you don't want it, it stashes away in the rear pocket. Weather sealing is done properly too. Waterproof YKK zips, double storm flap on the main zip, and a good collar design. Because there's no point in having laminate fabric if water is just going to get in through the bad zip choices. One thing our team keeps coming back to with the Akashi is that it really works as a one jacket solution. In the summer, open the vents. In the winter, put the thermal liner in. When it rains, the laminate shell does its job. On long rides, the hydration pocket and storage make sense. It's one of the few jackets here that you could buy and realistically use all year round without constantly wishing you'd bought something else. And it's worth saying, if you were building a full suit, the Akashi is part of a proper matching set with matching trousers, so you can go full setup if you want to do that. Same goes for some of the other ranges too. And if you're shorter or awkward in the leg, then shortly I'll do an overall comparison to let you know which come in short and regular leg options, because getting that right makes a massive difference to comfort and sealing over your boots. So before we wrap up, let's do a quick side-by-side comparison of the stuff riders actually ask about in store. Armour, protection ratings, trouser fit options, and what kind of riding each jacket suits best. So starting with armour setups, the Merlin Akashi Pro comes really well equipped out of the box. You get D3O armour in the shoulders and elbows, plus a back protector fitted as standard, and chest armour pockets ready if you want to upgrade. The Richa Infinity 3 Pro also includes D3O armour throughout, including a back protector, so it's a full protective setup straight away. The RST Vulcan comes with level 2 armour in the shoulders, elbows and back as standard, which is good value protection wise, and the held Lonborg includes shoulder and elbow armour, but the back protector is optional, so you'll want to factor that in if you want full coverage. And the Oxford Mondial 2 comes with level 2 shoulder and elbow armour, but again, the back protector is optional. We always recommend adding one if you're already investing in the jacket. So protection ratings next. The Merlin Akashi, the Richa Infinity 3 Pro, the held Lonborg and the RST Vulcan are all AA rated garments, which means stronger abrasion resistance in the fabric. The Oxford Mondial 2 is a single A rated jacket, which is also road legal PPE protection, but not as abrasion focused as the AA jackets. To be clear, for commuting and sensible touring, that's fine. You just need to know what you're buying. Now trousers, because most riders would want to buy a full suit. Fit options are actually a big win here. The held Lonborg trousers come in stocky fit, tummy fit, regular and slim, which is brilliant if you struggle with standard sizing. The Richa Infinity 3 Pro trousers are available in short, regular and long, making it one of the easiest suits to work with for leg length. The Merlin Akashi trousers come in short and regular options, and the RST Vulcan trousers are also available in short and regular. Finally, the Oxford Mondial trousers offer short, regular and long options. That matters more than people think. Getting the trouser length right affects comfort, waterproof sealing over the boots and armour positioning. And last but certainly not least, what kind of riding each jacket suits best. The Merlin Akashi is the strongest all-rounder. Touring, commuting, adventure style riding, mixed weather, it's the most versatile jacket here. The Richa Infinity 3 Pro is excellent for road touring and year-round commuting, especially if warmth and waterproofing are priorities. The Oxford Mondial is a great everyday commuter and road touring jacket. Lighter, simpler, and very easy to live with. The held Lonborg sits nicely in that premium road touring space with a softer feel and good comfort. And the RST Vulcan is the budget-friendly laminate option that covers general touring and commuting, even if it's not as refined as the others. Before we wrap up, one last important point. Fit matters more than brand. Check sleeve length in riding position, make sure armour sits correctly, and make sure the collar doesn't dig in when zipped up. A £300 jacket that fits properly will always outperform a £700 jacket that doesn't. If this video helped, hit like and subscribe. It genuinely helps us keep producing proper deep dive gear content like this. We've got a physical Moto Central shop if you want to come in and try these jackets on properly. And if you'd rather shop online, links to all 5 jackets in the description with full sizing and colour options. I'm Jamie from Moto Central. Thanks for watching, ride safe, and I'll see you in the next one.